Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you on a Easter Monday. Down south, it's Patriots Day and lots of celebrations there. But yeah, we had a great 4-day long weekend here. Jason's kind of on like permanent vacation, so we got him off the couch. Oh no, he's probably still on the couch, but at least out of bed on a Monday, a little early, so we can have some turkey dinner tonight and other festivities and things. So yeah, happy Easter Monday to you, Jason. How was your weekend?
Happy Easter Monday to you too as well. My weekend was fantastic. I was able to have not one but two dinners, one last night, one yesterday.
Nice.
And then I had a friend of mine take me out for lunch on Friday. So I have eaten exceptionally well this weekend. I feel great. And on top of that, with the numerous dinners I did have, they know me so well that they gave me to-go Tupperware full of food. You should see my fridge. I have not seen that much food in a long time. That's all.
Nice. Wow, good for you. Wow, I know that makes warms your heart, makes you happy. For your birthday, I got you some Tupperware. I thought you'd be carrying that around with you every time you went out for dinner.
Well, that Tupperware, once I get my new car, I'm still in it, that goes right in the car. So it's always ready.
Always there. Oh, good to hear. Nice. That's good. Yeah, well, I know how much food means to you, how much food means to me as well. I don't know. I think we're about on the same level of how much we love food and big dinners. I'm a little worried right now. I can tell you I'm feeling a little scared in my heart because I woke up this morning and the turkey was still completely frozen, and it was supposed to be left out of the fridge overnight, but it was left in the fridge overnight. So as of about 10:30, when I headed out to work this morning, it was still 100% frozen. So I don't know if it's gonna be in time. I think by 2:30 it had to be into the oven, so it had 5 hours to unfreeze. I don't know, man. I don't know. We might be going to the white spot for turkey dinner tonight, maybe.
Well, I guess my only suggestion is turn up the heat, in your place. Maybe that will speed it up. I have no idea.
I've only personally cooked one turkey in my life, and that was last Thanksgiving, I guess it was, and turned out great. Everything worked, and I was pretty shocked and amazed because I don't really even think about cooking ever. It just never even crosses my mind. So I had to put in a lot of effort, and it turned out well. I'm not the one cooking it tonight. Thank God for everybody, but yeah, just keep your fingers crossed for me. I'll at least get one dinner out of it. You got two this weekend. At least give me one, please, God, give me one.
I'm sure you're gonna get it. And it's always refreshing or appreciated, I should say, when somebody cooks dinner for you.
Oh man,
I've always loved that. I've always appreciated it, and it's just and I always give thanks for getting such good meals.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited. My girlfriend Lorraine, she is an amazing cook. She cooks amazing dinners all the time, and she decided, even though her parents are away, her parents and brother are away down in Palm Springs, we're still having a family get together, and she's making a turkey and everything, all the fixings and stuff. So I've been sort of salivating all day. I got my fat pants on. I've fasted a little bit, making sure that I'll be able to get all the turkey in me. And I think there's still going to be leftovers, which is always even better. A couple days eating turkey sandwiches and having some leftovers really makes me happy for extended holiday. Yeah. We briefly lost Jason. Oh, we briefly lost you there.
Sorry about that. Somebody's trying to phone me. I didn't like that. So yeah. Anyways, Sorry, where were you?
I'm just saying I like when there's leftovers, so my holiday food can last into the week as well. It makes me feel great when I wake up in the morning and I know I'm gonna get some turkey sandwiches. I know I'm gonna get another turkey dinner extended on into the week. That's even better than some of the early thoughts of it, but having it extended for 3 days, I think it's an important, crucial moment.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Having said it, obviously, and then also too, just having those leftovers. It's so good. Like it's just so good. Like you see my face. You see my face right now. See the smile on my face. That's how good it is.
Yeah.
That's why I love the leftovers.
Yeah. Okay, well, we had a great weekend of sports. I was just like inundated. 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday. The NBA playoffs, all game ones finally happened after last week's play-in games. We finally got to see all the matchups together. There was a UFC card this weekend that turned out pretty good. Boxing took center stage as well. Errol Spence Jr. getting a big victory. Lots going on, but I do want to mention that live here in Vancouver, we had a World Cup tie between Canada and Latvia. It's called the Billie Jean King Cup. And some of Canada's top tennis players in the world, female tennis players in the world, were able to come in and they played amazing. They won all 4 matches that were played down at the Pacific Coliseum. And we had a blast going there. It was really nice to see all the Canadian flags, everybody decked out in red and white, and Canada just played so awesome in the tournament, and we're able to qualify for the World Cup. And it was really fun, and I'm so glad we got tickets and went down there. It was really nice to see all the patriotism and see the great tennis.
Oh yeah, well, hey, I'm sure that they put on a great tournament and a great event for fans. And on top of the fact that now that our COVID restrictions have been lifted in this province, you can just see the joy of people being able to, interact with people again.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And getting to go out and enjoy events of this nature. It's always since it's been taken away from us for so long, it's now even more appreciated than we ever have before.
Oh man, I know it. You're right. You're so right. I just feel so happy when I can go to events now. I appreciate it that much more. I was a reporter for so many years, and a lot of times I'd be like dragging my butt there thinking, oh, I got to go to a game tonight. I got to go to this event tonight. I had things to, do in my life. I had things to watch on TV, like all these NBA playoff games and stuff. But luckily we got the PVR now. Luckily I got, a lot going on. I'm always a busy guy, so I can juggle things, but it was really good. And I was pretty impressed by the crowd, but it should have been 100% sold out. I think the organizers really, really let Vancouver down, let the country down. It was very, very, very poorly promoted. Almost nobody that I know knew that it was even going on. The promoters have one job, and that's to fill the place, and that's to create a great atmosphere there, and they really dropped the ball. It was shocking that, such a big event, it wasn't 100% sold out. It had a lot of things that I can criticize. Super happy that they did it, but if it's not sold out, then next time that they're putting in a bid to have it in this city or Toronto or Montreal or somewhere else around the country, maybe we don't get considered because it didn't sell out. And I would have been able to sell it out. You would have been able to sell it out. People we know could have easily made that place full, but somebody dropped the ball, and I'm really angry at them. I'd actually love to have them on of a podcast and give them a piece of my mind, because I could have sold it out, and I'm not even a tennis guy all the time. Love the game, love the sport, but that's your job, and you screwed up.
Yeah. Then it begs the question. It's like, well, how much funds did they have allocated towards marketing for this event? Because like, if it sounds like they didn't really do much, because even I didn't know. You had to tell me because I didn't know that event was going on. And, for people that are actually trying to pay attention to the sports that are going on in the city, for us to not know something of that magnitude, not happening in the city, but we don't know, well, then why don't we know?
Yeah.
It's kind of important. We should know.
Sure. Yeah, that's one frustration I've had with the country of Canada. We promote hockey because it's our sport, and they do it, but I could sell out most places in hockey because it's a hockey country. But basketball, soccer, tennis, a lot of the other sports, they have hard times. We see the CFL football. They have BC Place and they open it up and you get 18,000 fans where it could fit 55,000. The promotion part of things, for some reason, Canadians don't get. Where American has an event like this, they're going to spend $100,000 on promotion or more, and they're going to fill it completely out. And they're going to recoup that money by all those people buying tickets, all those people spending money, buying shirts, buying this, buying that, and promoting it. They're going to get more money because the television rights are going to grow up. The broadcasters are going to have to pay more money to actually televise this. And I've seen it so much in the US. They promote sports really, really, really well, and it's sold out. They sell out high school football games, college football games. They sell out pretty much any sport. I see them playing cornhole. I see them playing, obscure sports, bowling, everything. They know how to promote, spend money, and then you get a full crowd and you make money off of that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think one of the problems in this country is that we're so focused on just one sport that we forget about everything else. Yeah. It's almost like hockey is it, nothing else really exists. Yeah. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. We've had numerous athletes that have been born in this country that have gone on to play baseball, that have gone on to do great things in soccer, that have gone on to do great things in the NBA and basketball. So those are things we have to remember, that it's just not hockey here. There's other things that other people love as a sport.
Yeah.
And we should be promoting those things as well.
Sure should be. I really wanted to just give the thanks out to Leila Annie Fernandez, Rebecca Marino, Gabriella Dabrowski, Carol Zhao, Francois Abanda. All the girls came, participated in the event. Helen Kellecy, who I went to school with, is one of the Team Canada ambassadors now. Really phenomenal that she's still involved in the game. She played tennis at a super high level. It was really nice to see Leila Annie Fernandez after her great run in the US Open, becoming such a media darling, so fun to watch, great personality, and playing such tennis at such a high level. She played phenomenal this weekend. Out of the 2 matches, she only lost 6 games out of the 2 matches, and was really great. Really nice to be able to celebrate Rebecca Marino, hometown girl. She just kept saying how much she was very nervous because it was in her hometown, but she said the love and support just pushed her through and gave her the victories. And man, it was an awesome event. I was very happy to see so much patriotism, so much Canadian flags. After the protests and all that, and the Canadian flag started getting a little smears on it, it's nice to be back at an event supporting Canada.
Yeah, and it's nice to see the Canadian flag being represented the right way, as opposed to the way it has been represented as of late. So, and I'm glad to see that, and I'm glad to see that, there was people that came out to support the event, because it was a great event, and it just, as you said before, I just wish there was better marketing for said event.
Yeah. I'm going to put a lot of stuff on the website. We got a lot of great video. We got some great photos. We got a nice write-up about the event. And so go to completesportsmedia.com and you'll be able to read up on all the great things that happened on the weekend. I do also want to mention our Team Canada captain, Heidi El Tabak. She was really phenomenal. I've watched a lot of tennis, and I've never seen a coach get to sit right beside the player and give them in-game coaching. And she seemed to make some great adjustments for all the girls. And we got a great victory there. And it's so nice to see us advance to that World Cup status. And I can't wait for the next event. I don't know where it's going to be. I think I've heard that we are playing, let's see, I think we're playing the Netherlands next. And so the actual World Cup final takes place in November. So they're going to be a couple of more tournaments and ties, they call them ties, to get the final groups. But we're looking good. We're looking really strong. And I think, yeah, we could win it all this year. It just might happen.
That would be great. That would be fantastic if we are able to do that. And at least we put ourselves in the position to do that.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. It just goes to show how far we've come in the sport of tennis.
I mentioned the protests that happened, the truckers and everything that happened at the borders. Today I hit a protest. I was turning off of Boundary to try to get onto the highway, and the people that were protesting against cutting old growth forests have blocked off the highway, and huge protest there. There was police presence, fire trucks, lots and lots and lots of police there to try to get traffic flowing again. I agree with our right to protest, but I think so many of these protesters are going about it in the wrong way, in my opinion. They're making people angry at them. They're making people late for work. They're making people late for appointments, for things they're doing, interrupting your daily life. I think you would want more support for your cause, and there has to be a better way. I don't know. I'm not a protester. I don't go out there and do this all the time, but don't you think there has to be a better way?
I would think so. I would like to think that there's a better way of getting your point across, as opposed to interrupting your life to get your point across. Like maybe, okay, so you got to protest, there's something you got to say, maybe then try to take whatever it is that you're trying to get across to a bigger stage on the TV, like try to get on a talk show, or try to get on the radio, or just try to get to these different media outlets so that your voice can be heard. I don't know necessarily, is it beneficial for you to like I said, interrupt somebody's life to get your point across? Because now I know what the issue is, but do I want to support it because of what you just did? Usually, no. I don't actually want to support what you've just done.
Yeah, I think I supported some of what the truckers were trying to get across. The vaccine mandates were, maybe not that great and not that cool for a lot of that cross-border traffic and a lot of the, the things that are going on. I agree sometimes when they protest over the high gas prices, because it's ridiculous. We're paying the highest gas prices in North America. That just doesn't seem right. And it doesn't seem like a thing that we should be doing. I agree with protests. We shouldn't be cutting down old growth forests. We shouldn't be killing seals. We shouldn't be doing this, doing that. Yeah, but there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. I heard that the protesters last week that blocked off the highway, they all got their vehicles towed away, and the government is seizing them now. They're keeping their vehicles. They do not get them back. And that was quite shocking. I didn't believe the government was capable or could do something like that. But some of those vehicles are probably worth $50,000, and they just have lost their vehicle. They can't get it back. I think they're probably going to go to court and spend a lot of taxpayers' money to try to get them back. But I just think, wow, that's a pretty big sacrifice to lose your vehicle over this cause, and good on you, but I don't think you're getting far with what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, and also too, so was it worth it? Your car was probably, I think you just got it, let's say it's like $60,000, and it's gone. So was your cause worth about $60,000 or more? Because if you want to try to fight in court, which is going to cost you more money. So people are passionate about what they believe. I
Yeah.
get that. I
Yeah.
get that. I understand that. But at the same time, I'm like you. I think there has to be a more significant way of getting your point across than trying to piss people off by making them by interrupting their life.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be a better way of doing that
I agree.
has been happening.
I used to do radio in my early careers at the universities, University of Victoria, University of Vancouver, or UBC, and SFU, and places like that. And there was always a lot of very passionate people protesting. And I still see some of those passionate people 25 or maybe even 30 years from now, they're still at these protests. So it's, it becomes a full-time job for them. I would have thought over 30 years and over hundreds of years that people have been protesting, you could figure out a way to get people on your side and have, those changes made. It seems bizarre. You kind of messed up my day. I'm trying to enjoy my last day of holidays. I had to go get a COVID test, so I had to travel through the traffic to go get this COVID test. And all of a sudden, now we pushed this, and now I have to push my dinner a little bit. And then we have a wrap party tonight I'm going to be late to. And, come on, like, you made me, probably I would have been a supporter of you if you just sent me a $5 check or, something, I would have probably been fully on your side. But today I'm not. Sorry about that, guys. You messed up. You lost support over this guy and this guy too, probably.
Yeah. And like maybe there's a more savvier way of using your social media to get your point across or something like that. But to a certain respect, I think it's antiquated thinking, trying to think it's like, I'm going to really get my point across by pissing other people off and doing this and doing that and like blocking off roads so that people can't get to where they want to go or see loved ones or I think there's got to be a different or better way of doing that, getting your point across so that people understand what the issue is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. Let's try to fly through. We've got 8 playoff series to go through. I wanted to start with the best game of the bunch. One of the series that most people thought was going to be really, really, really close because Brooklyn has KD, Kyrie. They've got, quite a few good pieces. And because of Kyrie's vaccine stance and because of injuries to KD and Harden and all the fiasco that they've kind of had this year in Brooklyn, they fall all the way down to number 7 and they end up having to play Boston. But everybody was expecting this to be a great matchup. And man, was it ever a great game. So many ties, so many lead changes, just went back and forth like a heavyweight boxing fight. And in the end, Jason Tatum is the hero. He ends up getting the game-winning bucket. And it was awesome. What a great start to a series that I'm really excited and looking forward to. And they were the one to land the first punch.
Yeah, and what a punch it was, and what a game it was. By far and away the best game out of all the playoff games that have happened so far. And I was super impressed with just the cohesiveness of the Celtics game on offense and especially on defense. Yeah. That team is tenacious when it comes to their defense. Wow. They're very, very good. They kept Kevin Durant. Well, this was probably only be a couple games they can do this to him. 9 of 24 from the field. Amazing. He had 23 points, but that's 9 to 24. They kept Kevin Durant. So that in itself, super impressive. Yeah. But when it comes to the other superstar and Kyrie Irving, I didn't do that well. He put out 39 points, 12 of 20 with 6 assists. He had a fantastic game. He had a great game.
Yeah. But Kyrie is right now, the last couple games in the play-in game and this game, he's just on fire. He's absolutely unguardable right now and just dominating. But there was a bit of thoughts in my mind that this series sort of rested on who was better, KD or Tatum, and Tatum outplayed KD. I think the Boston defense, what they threw at KD is the recipe for success. I don't know why a lot more teams don't do that with KD. Is you want to pressure him. He's not super physical guy. You want to get in his face. You want to give him some physical, defense, tenacious defense, and that's what they did. And he wasn't able to, have a very good game at all. Kyrie played awesome, but when it's just one guy, usually you're going to be able to beat it with a team game.
Yeah, and especially with the Celtics, they had actually a very great balanced attack. Great balanced attack. Tatum was the leading scorer, 31 points, 9 of 18, 8 assists. Brown was next, 23 points, 9 of 19. And then you had Marcus Smart with another 20 points, 8 of 17, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. And then even Al Horford, 20 points, 8 of 13, 15 rebounds. Super balanced attack. They had everybody involved for the Celtics on offense, as opposed to two dominance for the Nets with Irving and KD. And that was the difference.
Yeah, big difference, big time. And the funny thing is, in the press conference before the series started, Bruce Brown from the Nets said that they were really looking forward to this matchup against the Celtics because Robert Williams wasn't there. They're going to be depleted in the middle. He mentioned Horford and Tice not being very good. And, he thought that they would be able to exploit that. I know that Kevin Durant said, whoa, what is he saying? I don't agree. I think he should shut his mouth and not say stuff like that. And he paid the price because Horford was even better than Durant. And Tice was throwing in his mix there too. Horford with 20 points and 15 rebounds. Like, that's a very, very dominant performance for a veteran like that.
Yeah, it's a huge dominant performance. And KD, knowing better than Mr. Brown, is basically saying, don't give them like bulletin board material. Don't give them stuff so that they can just amp themselves up. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be very subtle. Just be like, oh man, they're a great team. It's going to be a hard series. Don't give them stuff so that they can now build upon that and say they're looking down upon us. They don't think that we're that good. Right. Well, then let's show them. Let's show them how good we actually are. So
I don't normally cheer for Boston. I'm a New York guy typically in most of my sporting loves. So I'm not really a Boston lover, but I was cheering for Boston in this game. I probably will be cheering for them in this series. The only thing that sways me a little bit towards Brooklyn is Steve Nash. And I think Steve Nash made a mistake at the end of this game, I have to say. I think he should have taken a timeout. I think he should have set up his defense for that last play. And I think they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off, scrambling around. The ball came down and had Jaylen Brown had it. He threw it across to Smart. Two guys ran at him and just did a blow by them. They were completely off the court. Once he realized that, he throws it to Tatum, who had to just spin around Kyrie and get that game-winning bucket. I think. Unfortunately, Nash made a mistake there. I think they should have set up their defense, and they had, they just didn't look like they knew what to do, and it bit them in the butt. Yeah,
I agree with you. That if they had called the timeout and then they'd set it up, then people absolutely know what their defensive positioning should be and who they should be getting on defense. And they seemed discombobulated, and then giving Tatum the chance to pirouette around Kyrie and get that layup off in the nick of time, by the way. Just in the nick of time.
Like, it just went off his fingertips with less than a second to go. It was amazing. Yeah. And it was his first buzzer beater game-winning shot of his playoff career ever. And it's the first one since 2010 for a Celtics player since the truth, Paul Pierce in 2010. And Boston fans were just so delighted. The crowd was really, really, really intense the entire game. They obviously exploded when the bucket went through. But they were getting into it with Kyrie quite a bit. And I was really surprised. Kyrie's been around. I would consider a veteran now. And he started engaging with them. He gave him that middle finger salute. He's going to get fined. He's going to be in trouble with the league. Could you believe that he was letting any of the catcalling get to him like that?
Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, he's still a human being,
Yeah.
and I know that obviously when he left Boston, it left a sour taste in a lot of fans' mouths, and just the way that it went down and all that sort of stuff. But there's been a significant amount of time that's passed since then.
Yeah.
But fans got long memories,
Yeah.
and so at least going forward, now he knows what's going to be up every time he goes to Boston. So he's just going to have to control his emotions and then use that as fuel for the fire to do more big games like this, have more 40-point games. That will shut fans up.
Yeah. I play a lot of fantasy sports. DraftKings is my go-to, and I put a lot of time and effort into creating the best lineups, and KD is normally on my lineup no matter what. He's going to provide you. Do you think I should be putting money on him for their upcoming game?
Oh, what you mean money on him for scoring points or winning the game?
Scoring points.
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, we're talking about KD. Yeah, you can do that because as well as Boston did for this first game to shut him down, well, that's not going to be every game because that's Kevin Durant. You can do that maybe once, maybe twice, maybe even 3 times, but that's not going to be for the rest of the series. You are not capable of locking that man up for the entire series. Not happening.
Yeah. The funny thing is most people play DraftKings and they see what a guy did last game, and then they decide, nah, he didn't play well. I don't think he's playing well right now, and they'll jump off of him. So this might be a time where I can get him at his lowest ownership, and I might be able to actually really beat everybody else, because I can see a lot of people jumping off the KD bandwagon over one bad game and how well Boston played against him. But I think that's really silly and ridiculous because he's one of the most dynamic scorers to ever live. And so I think he's going to watch some tape and he's going to be able to figure out what they did and he's going to be able to exploit them. And I think he's going to have a monster game in that second game.
Yeah, because that's what he's done and that's what he does do because he's done it already before. All right. Like he has past history of, okay, I had a bad game. All right, whatever. But I'm Kevin Durant, so I'll probably bounce back pretty good in the next game. And then the next game after that. You can only stop that guy for so long. And that's what superstars do. That's what future Hall of Famers do. Yeah. You can only stop me for so long until I get you eventually.
Can you stop Kyrie?
Well, it's just, I think it's the same to a certain extent, the same, but not the same, because I put Durant as a better player than Kyrie, even though Kyrie is incredibly gifted. I still put Durant ahead of Kyrie, but it's still the same thing. He has the capacity to go off. He has the capacity to win you games, but he can be locked up for a certain amount of games, but not every game in the series. Again, that's not going to happen with him either. I think it's one of those situations for the Celtics where, okay, those 2 guys are probably going to get their points, but if we can lock down everybody else, like that's what's going to give us our best chance to win this game. Or if we can kind of lock out one of these 2 and make sure that they have a tough night at office in shooting and always contested shots. I think, and that I believe that's where the Celtics have their advantage, and I think that's where they're going to win this series.
Yeah, it's been a remarkable turnaround for this Celtics team. A lot of people were saying Tatum and Brown cannot work together. They're just 2 similar players, and I just don't see it ever working. I even heard Charles Barkley say, "Blow this thing up, get rid of one or both." And I was like, I don't know about that. I think that, they can coexist together and play really well. But I was super impressed with Marcus Smart as well. They forced so many turnovers, just tenacious defense. And so much of this team is really, really great to watch. I'm amazed that they've been able to come from not very well in the beginning of the season. Somehow, I think they were even like a couple games under 500 in January, and then they just turned it on, and they were the best team down the stretch through the rest of the regular season. And they're a real threat to Milwaukee, Miami. I think, they could really, really challenge for this Eastern crown.
Yeah. But a big part of why they had that turnaround in the second half of the season was Marcus Smart, was the fact that he took on the challenge of being the point guard and making sure that the ball was distributed to where it needed to be during the flow of the offense, during the flow of the game. He made sure of all of those things. And because of that, he's become a better player, a better floor general. And then, not only is he doing that on offense for the Celtics, but he's also doing that on defense for the Celtics as well, as being one of their best defensive players.
Oh, he sure is. Yeah. Really great. Okay. The last thing I want to mention about this series at this moment is that Ben Simmons supposedly is 100% pain-free now, expected to actually be on full practices this week. I don't know. It seems like he's trending in the direction of at least giving it a shot. He hasn't played all year. Can he make a difference without playing all year if he does get some time?
Well, I guess the good thing is that we know about Ben is he's not going to be shooting, right? So, I guess if he can play some defense and help them on that end, then that's a bonus. But at the same time, I got to see it to believe it first. I really do, man. I gotta see the fact that he's actually going to take the court. The fact that he's pain free, that's fantastic. Doesn't mean he's actually going to play this series.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it just doesn't mean anything to me at this point.
That's true.
I got to see him take the court. I got to see it.
Yeah, me as well. So, second game of that series doesn't go until Wednesday. It's the 4:00 Pacific start time, 7:00 Eastern start time. Game 2. They for some reason are putting a couple days between. Their game is Wednesday, and then they don't play game 3 until Saturday. So, we've got to wait a few days for that. I wanted to kind of go from the best games on and on, but I think we should right away go into the Raptors because most of our fans north of the border here are Raptors fans now. And they had a big game against the 76ers. And because they're a 4-5 matchup, they gave the Sixers a lot of trouble this year. They went on a really good run to end the regular season. I think a lot of people started trending in the favor of the Raptors to take this series. But game 1, it wasn't close. It wasn't pretty. It was complete domination by Philly, especially Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey probably played the greatest game of his life. And also the Raptors had 3 of their guys go down with injury. Supposedly all 3 are doubtful to play in game 2. It was tragic. They're playing today for game 2. I think they're in big trouble now. I'm starting to trend in the direction of this. This could be a sweep, maybe.
It could be, because it's unfortunate with Scotty Barnes' injury, where Joel Embiid literally just stepped on his foot, sprained his ankle. All right, that's just
290 pounds of human being stepping on your foot and ankle as it's twisting. I don't see him coming back for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big man stepping on your foot in a prone in a bad position for your ankle. So with that, and Gary Trent Jr., it's looking like he's going to be out, along with Thaddeus Young, all doubtful. I'm pretty sure that probably none of those 3 are probably going to be able to play for the game 2. And that's problematic going forward, because now you don't know when they're going to be able to come back, or if they can come back for the series. And I love the fact, going with Philly, the way that Tyrese Maxey has elevated his game, not just in this game, but this season. Yeah. And he seems to be the perfect third between Harden and Embiid. Like he's like perfect. He's a slasher. He can jump out and hit the 3, and he is explosively fast.
Yeah.
Super quick. I was super impressed with his performance. 38 points, 14 of 21 from the field. He played exceptionally well. And the other guy that played exceptionally well for Philly that I need to mention is Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
26 points, 9 of 14 from the field, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. He played very, very well in the win over the Raptors.
Yeah, Tobias Harris, when James Harden came over in the trade for Ben Simmons, I really thought that Tobias took way a backseat, and he was just really non-existent in some of those matchups at the end of the season. And I was starting to wonder if he was on the chopping block. They were going to start looking to get rid of him. But yeah, he emerged as a scoring threat, as he's always been. And yeah, he played great, I thought. The other guy that you failed to mention much of is James Harden. 14 assists. That's probably his playoff high. I never checked out that, but he's not normally a guy that's going to be that point guard, as much. But he's taken a back seat to the scoring of Harris, and I think that was smart of him. He's not as physically in shape. I think it's Harris, and so you might as well dish it off to Embiid and Harris and let them take it. Maxey played phenomenal, and that guy's got the young legs. It was a great performance by Philly, full on.
Yeah, great performance, and also too Harden smart enough to know that when he's distributing the ball, because the ball's in his hands as the point guard, that he's going to give it to the person with the hot hand. And he was very, very good at doing that for this particular game by making sure that Tobias Harris was being fed the ball along with Tyrese Maxey, because they were hot.
Yeah.
From the field.
Scotty Barnes, you mentioned, probably winning Rookie of the Year this year. He was able to contribute a lot, 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists, and really was a force until that injury. They're going to sorely miss him. His energy, his toolbox. He can really just do so much out there. That's going to be big. Gary Trent Jr. is a big loss. He didn't light it up on the scoreboard, but he definitely can if they double team Fred VanVleet. I see him being able to get those open shots and sinking them. And Thaddeus Young, another guy that they're going to throw in there. Nick Nurse is going to utilize to try to bang with Joel Embiid. And the Raptors thought that they could utilize their 6'9" sort of base out there and really mess with Embiid, but I think they're really lacking that size that they need to shut down Embiid inside. He was able to get whatever he needed, and when they doubled and triple teamed him, he was smart, passed it out to the other guys.
Yeah, exactly. And so now for the rest of the series, since they're lacking size down the middle, Embiid might be feasting for the rest of the series. Yeah. They're definitely going to try to step on the neck of the Raptors as they just keep feeding Embiid the ball down the middle. That's what I foresee for the rest of this series.
Yeah. So game 2 goes tonight, 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 in the East there. I feel worried about the Raptors. They went on such a phenomenal run where they might get in the play-in game, and then all the way up to fifth position, and you thought, wow, this could be a pretty favorable matchup. But after game 1, not looking pretty. Do you think Nick Nurse can figure out how to do it? He is a genius. We talked about him recently. Do you think he's able to somehow get this team to a big win and splitting this series before they go back to Toronto?
The mad scientist Nick Nurse will do what he needs to do. But really what it comes right down to at this point in time is the fact that he needs his best players to step up and play their best basketball. And that right now would be between, I'd say, 3 players of Siakam, who actually did have a pretty good game, 24 points, 9 of 18, 7 assists. Freddie VanVleet, and then he actually had a pretty good game too, 18 points, 7 of 12, 6 assists. And I think the dark horse of the 3 that needs to really step up would be OG Anunoby. And he had a good game too as well. But I think those three need to elevate their game to a certain extent for the Raptors to be even have a chance to beat the 76ers.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, Toronto's in big trouble, especially with those injuries that they suffered. Okay, I want to go to a game that most people are considering an upset over game one. The Minnesota Timberwolves were able to come in at 7th position in the West and facing the Memphis Grizzlies, who were the second best team in the whole association this year, and pull off a big upset. They came in riding a high after winning in the play-in game. And, I was like thinking Charles and Shaq were nuts for starting to pick them as actually beating Memphis. But, man, what a first game for them. And, to win 131-17, two top scoring teams in the league coming in. And it was a very, very incredible performance by those Timberwolves.
Yeah, I am looking at this series, and I think this is probably going to be the most entertaining series of the bunch, because you have a bevy of young superstars on both sides of the basketball that are playing against each other. I love the fact that Anthony Edwards is taking the challenge and guarding Ja Morant.
Yeah.
They're going mano a mano. Yeah. And that is fantastic to see. I love the way that Edwards played. First playoff game that he's ever played in. 36 points, 6 assists. He played exceptionally well. It seems like the bright lights are not deterring him or making him lack in any way in his performance on the basketball court. Karl Anthony Towns, terrific game as well. That dunk that he had in the second half. Woo. Yeah.
That was a poster. That was definitely a poster.
Yeah, that was definitely a poster. No, he finished 29 points, 13 rebounds. And then Ja Morant, amazing amount of jaw-dropping, like, moves and dunks. That's just, this is the one series that I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on, because I think this is going to be a battle. I think this is going to be a very close series. And on top of that, it's just going to be super entertaining, because look at what we already saw in game one. Yeah. They're just the highlights and the dunks and the amazing moves. I love this series. I love the fact that this is like almost like an exhibition of the new up and coming talent for the NBA. And this is where our future is going forward.
Oh, big time. Yeah. This is actually the first time since 2004 where the top two scoring offenses met in the first round. So unfortunately, one of these two are going to go home after this series, but they both scored over 115.5 points a game this year. And this is going to be electric, super fun, back and forth, not tight defenses, lots of really phenomenal scoring. And two really young teams that are on the up and up and looking great. I'm excited. It was really, really, really fun game to watch, and it's going to be a fun series. I love these young guys, like you mentioned, Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards. Man, Anthony Edwards, came in pretty highly touted. Another one of those number one picks. Minnesota had quite a few in that 4 or 5 year stretch, but he's looking like maybe the best of the bunch. And the other thing that was a little concerning for Timberwolves fans were, even though they won that game, the play-in game against the Clippers, Anthony Towns had a horrible game, didn't play well at all, and they still were able to get the win. But this game, he was dominant again, 29-13, as you mentioned. And he just asserted his all-star dominance. And that dunk over Jaren Jackson, man, that's going to be on the highlight reels in Minnesota for decades. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. It actually looked like he even got a little bit higher when he took off. Like,
yeah, I know. I saw a little extra little bump somehow. Yeah, as he was up there and it looked like he was at the peak. Then suddenly there was another little level that he went to. I don't know how he did it. Somehow on air, he was able to push himself another little notch higher. It was cool. I had to watch it over and over. Like, how did he do that? How did he get that extra little jump?
Yeah, and I did it myself. I watched it again where I'm like, I swear he actually elevated again when he was already in the air. And I still don't know how he did that, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
incredible
yeah,
dunk.
yeah. Watch that, people that are watching this. It was crazy. It was amazing. The other thing I thought was hilarious were his dad and Jaw's dad started chirping at each other and having the little contest on the sideline, and then they came and hugged each other after because it was like, "Hey, you got me! Yeah, you got me back!" And the two dads of them went and hugged. Did you see that part of it? It was hilarious.
I missed that, but I think that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. That's great, man. That's great.
It was so great. It was super fun to watch, and yeah, this series is going to be one of those must-see series that we're going to be talking about for years to come, because I think both of these teams are going to be title contenders down the road, and it's just too bad one of them has to go home after this first round. They play tomorrow, their second game. It's 5:30 tip-off here on the West Coast, 8:30 in the East. So we're excited for that series for sure. Okay, let's turn to the Warriors. I want to talk about them coming in. Not sure if Steph's going to be able to make it, if he's going to be able to play at all. All of a sudden they're like game time decision, and then they say, yeah, he can play, but he was on the bench to start. Only the third time in his playoff career, came off injuries before, and they decided to ease him into it. He did not have a game. He did not really, be the Steph that we're used to seeing. But the Warriors were dominant, even though he wasn't, his self, and really put a beating on Denver. Jokic played great, but the Warriors were able to turn to Jordan Poole, who really emerged because Steph was off the court at the end of the season there, missing those 12 games. And Jordan Poole was on fire, even having Steph like long distance threes, and played the best game of his life.
Yeah, Poole was the one that led the way definitely for the Warriors win. Coming in with like 30 point game, he had a huge game. And also too, when you got a guy that's been playing as well as he had in the last couple of months, it affords Steve Kerr the ability to say, well, I can just bring Steph off the bench, and I don't have to rush him back in. Yeah. I do not have to do that, which is fantastic.
Great luxury. Great luxury. Yeah.
Great luxury to have. And hey, Jokic did what he could. He almost had a triple-double, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, along with Will the Thrill Barton, 24 points, 6 boards, 5 assists. The only thing I can say about this series is I believe the Warriors will eventually be the victors in this, but this series would be very different if two players for the Denver Nuggets were in the series, which is Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray.
Yeah,
this would be a very, very different series if those two were available. Unfortunately, they're not.
Yeah, unfortunate for Nuggets fans, Denver faithful. Jamal Murray had an absolutely massive playoff for them a couple of playoffs ago, and Michael Porter Jr. He was super dynamic, and it would be a really tight matchup. 3-6 matchups, usually definitely one-sided typically, but if those two players were in, it would be a big dogfight. Definitely first game goes to Golden State, but do you think Denver has any shot in this series?
I think they man, it's like I said before, it's going to be super hard for them to win this series. And then Jokic, unfortunately, has to be the engine for every single game for the Nuggets. He has to be absolutely on point at the top of his game for all of these games for them to even have a chance to beat the Warriors.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's impossible, but at this point in time, I think it's kind of highly unlikely. Jokic will get his numbers. He will play fantastic. It's just the rest of the team that is somewhat lacking compared to the Warriors team and their squad of players that they put out there on the court.
Yeah. I heard this mentioned as a pool party. Jordan Poole has a pool party. He's the second player in NBA history in his playoff debut to have 30 plus points and five or more 3-pointers made. And Kyrie Irving is the only other guy to have it done in 2015 with the Cavs. So an incredible performance by him. I saw Steph out there. He didn't look like he was limping. It didn't look like he was favoring his foot or, was diminished in any way. So that was a good sign. At least, he seems to be 100% healthy and seemed to be fine with not taking a lot of shots. He missed his first 5 shots and was able to finally sink a layup on a goaltend. But are you concerned with Steph coming back a little too early, or do you think they're easing him in properly?
I think they're easing him in properly. I think they're taking their time, and I think that because they have the luxury of a Jordan Poole that can start and that can get you buckets, I don't think they have to rush him back necessarily. I don't think they have to rush him back at all. And the fact that Klay Thompson has been coming back into form as well, I think you have the ability and the luxury just to slowly bring Steph back until Steph is finally back.
I think if I was the coach of Denver and Brendan Malone, I would employ a big front court. I'd have Boogie Cousins and Jokic out there at the same time. I think Boogie has a lot to prove because he's had some injury troubles. He's a former Warrior, knows that team pretty well. I would exploit the lack of size with Golden State, and I'd have both guys in there banging and crashing, giving Draymond all he can handle, Kevon Looney. And I think that's the only way they could be more dominant than the Warriors in any other aspect of this game.
Going big is obviously an option, but here's the thing. Then the Warriors will probably just be more on the perimeter and try to spread you out and take advantage of the fact that you have a lot of bigs on the court. So now it's like, I'm just going to drag you away from the paint, So, yeah. But at the same time, it's not to say that can't work. But I think it's worth a try by Michael Malone to give it a shot and see where they're at, yeah, and see if it can actually do some damage.
Michael Malone, I should have said. Brendan is his dad. Yeah, Michael Malone. Yeah. Okay, thanks for correcting me. Game 2, we've got the Nuggets and Warriors today. It's a 7:00 tip-off back in San Francisco. So can't wait for that one. Looking forward to seeing that come together. Okay, we've covered those. Let's see. I think we should cover coming up next. Why don't we cover the Jazz Mavericks?
Okay.
Very, very low scoring game. One of those kind of games that reminded you of the 90s, super defensive and not a lot of scoring, even though there are some very prolific scorers on both sides of the ball. But I guess this just comes down to nobody was able to step up in the absence of Luka Doncic and push this team forward. They had them at 92-91, and then the late run by Utah to get this win. Luka supposedly doubtful again for game 2. You got to feel sorry for Mavericks fans and the Dallas faithful, because if Luka was there, I think they win this first game and they probably win the series. But without him, I don't think they have a shot.
Yeah, and that's the difference with having a transcendent talent on the court or off the court.
No.
On the court, you probably win the series. Off the court, now you don't probably win the series. and that's just how much of a difference he makes, the impact he has on the game.
Yeah.
Jazz were able to steal a game, and in the Mavericks on the Mavericks court, and that's a big deal. And that is going to help them immensely, especially if Doncic can't go in game 2. And who knows when he can come back in the series. The more wins the Jazz has while Doncic is out, the better chances, obviously, they have of winning this series. And the more that he is out, the worse the Mavericks, are put themselves in or behind the 8 ball. So But Mitchell had a fantastic game with 32 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, along with Bogdanovich, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Like, Jazz did what they needed to do to get the win. And unfortunately, the Mavericks fell short.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really too bad. Donovan Mitchell is an amazing talent, and you can't take anything away from him. That's one of the reasons why Utah's been such a dominant team in the last few years. Him and Gobert, but Gobert's lack of offense is really always harming him. I can't believe that he doesn't work on that every offseason. He only contributes 5 points at 7'3". Come on, like, what the hell? You got 17 rebounds and you can only get 5 lousy points. Like, that is a really, really, really frustrating thing for anybody that watches these games. I think when you're that size and that dominant inside, you should be able to put up 20 points a game. And he doesn't. So that's their Achilles heel. The other thing I want to mention about the Jazz was Royce O'Neal got 1 bucket all game, and it was the game-winning bucket that helped push them across. I know that Shaq always talks about the others and those guys that need to come off the bench or step up and contribute. And to not score all game, and they fire it over to him in the corner and he sinks that 3-pointer to win it. Pretty bizarre. But they're going to do it with duct tape and a lot of other pieces for Donovan Mitchell. But he's pretty with Bogdanovich. Yeah, he can have some big games, but you can never count on him. Solid games, game after game after game. But this really hinges for sure on Doncic. But Mitchell, is such a force. I wish he had a little more pieces around him because he might be able to, go for a title one year. But I just don't see Utah having enough.
Yeah, and depending on how this playoff series goes for Utah, they could have very, very big implications in their roster construction. They may have to make moves. They may have to move Gobert and go in a different route. There's major questions about this team going forward. But right now, as it stands, they've won game 1. And they're looking at game 2 with the fact that probably Luka Doncic is not going to be able to play in game 2. No. And so if they can take advantage of that and be up 2-0 in the series, it really puts them in a great position to win said series.
Oh, especially when the first 2 games are in Dallas, and now they're going back to Utah for games 3 and 4. And I was really disappointed in Spencer Dinwiddie. I thought this was his opportunity to show that he could be the man. He could, put the team on his back and win. He definitely dropped the ball. He really wasn't a force. Jalen Brunson is fantastic, but he's a little small. Hard to, dominate at that size game after game, especially when those 2, Dinwiddie and him, were really the only 2 scorers. But Dinwiddie, he had this opportunity, and I think he really failed at it.
Yeah. He still had a solid game, but they needed more from him, right? And that's the thing. Like, if you're missing your superstar, then other guys have to step up. And normally, what you do, unfortunately, is not going to be enough. You need more. Yeah. And so I'm very curious to see how the Mavericks respond in game 2 and see what changes they do defensively to maybe try to slow down Donovan Mitchell to a certain extent.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. Yeah, and Gobert is such a bad matchup for all their centers. Their centers were thoroughly outplayed. We got Canadian Dwight Powell, 4 points, 5 rebounds as the starter, not good enough. Maxi Kleber came in to try to get something. He only had 4 rebounds in 24 minutes, and Davis Bertans came in and helped a little bit there as well. And he only had 3 rebounds, 4 points. Thoroughly outplayed down the middle. It was a very big mismatch there. Even though Gobert didn't throw any offense on the board, 17 rebounds, out rebounding their entire front court. 5-6 guys is not a recipe for success for Dallas. And it looks tough for them moving forward. Okay, why don't we why don't we turn to the top of the West and talk about Phoenix. They came up against New Orleans. They won, I think, 28 games more than them in the regular season. Big mismatch on paper, and Phoenix was able to have their way with them. This probably is going to be a sweep, I think. The Suns have been the best team by far this season. I think they're hell determined to avenge that loss of last year. They were up 2-0 on Milwaukee, allowed Milwaukee to win 4 straight and get that title. I think this is Phoenix title to lose this year. And they started off well in game 1. Very dominant performance in beating New Orleans Pelicans there.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. Like, they had a very efficient night at the offense. They showed exactly why they're number 1 in the NBA, as far as I'm concerned. They were in control of the game for the entirety of the game. Yeah. And at no point in time did I feel that they were really threatened. No. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see it. Paul finished with 30 points, almost had a triple-double, 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists, along with his running mate, Booker, with 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists. And they made it look real simplistic and easy. Yeah. They really did. Like, their offense was flowing. Everybody was involved. And with the fact that McCollum did his part on the Pelican side, with 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And Valanciunas had a huge game, actually. Yeah. 18 points and 25 rebounds.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But, unfortunately, they fell short. And I think they're going to continue to fall short for the rest of this series.
I'm shocked that he only played 31 minutes. He played 31 minutes and he got 18 points, 25 rebounds. Like, if he plays, he plays most of the game, what kind of rebounds are we going to be talking about here? We're going to be talking about Will Chamberlain type numbers. Like, wow, he was amazing inside. DeAndre Ayton is no joke. He's one of the greatest up-and-comer young centers in the league, but Valanciunas was awesome. And but New Orleans, just didn't have it. McCollum had a pretty good game with 25 points. Ingram, 18, not bad. I think Ingram, should have had more, and they're going to have to rely on him to have in the 30s to have a chance to win this game. One thing that just kept jumping out to me was that the Suns assisted on their first 10 field goals. They were really distributing the ball incredibly. Chris Paul has come into that organization and showed them what it takes to be successful, get the ball to the open man, and let him score. Devin Booker played great, and Chris Paul just, oh man, he's just such a joy to watch. At such a high level, being a point guard at his size, and just having incredible success as a floor general. It's just a treat to see a guy this late into his career still playing at such a massively high level.
Yeah, it is, and just to see the fact that how he's uplifted the entire organization was just the way that he carries himself, the way that he plays, and the fact that, he's still doing this at an advanced level, like that at an advanced stage in his NBA career. He's still one of the best point guards in the league and still getting it done. And I'm just super impressed with his play and the way that he's managed these young players on the Phoenix Suns team to have the championship mentality that they need to win.
Yeah. And CJ McCollum is a guy that I can see doing that, stepping into this young Pelicans franchise and being able to be that veteran, being able to be the guy that really can solidify them. And they have had a really, really great year, just making the playoffs and coming in and being able to represent was phenomenal for them. They started 1-12 this year. They were 3-16 at one point this season, and to make the playoffs, they have the second worst record in history to start a season 13 games in and make the playoffs. The Phoenix Suns in 96-97 started 0-13 and finished 40 in the next 52 games, 40-12 they were, and they made the playoffs. The Pelicans this year 1-12, and then went 36 and finished 36-46, and to actually be able to come in, win that playoff games, to win the playoff games and get in there. The Cavs and the Bulls, Cavs in 84-85, and the Bulls in 67-68, all were 1-12. The Cavs finished with the same record as the Pels, and the Bulls finished 29-53. Somehow made the playoffs with a 29-53 record. Don't know how that happened, but yeah, this to me was just an accomplishment. Just even making the playoffs and being able to go there. Once they get Zion back, and if he can come back fit and healthy, with Ingram, McCollum, Valanciunas, and Zion, this team will be a force next year.
Yeah, they got a great lineup. It's a great roster. And I'd love to see what it looks like when Zion is actually playing on the team. Like, what does this team look like with that guy now added to the mix? I think that they have a great future ahead of them, but we need to see it once Zion is actually able to fully come back and is completely healthy.
Yeah. Trey Murphy's a young, really great scorer they got there. I'm impressed with him. Herb Jones, really good for his rookie year, playing, one of the starting guard positions, start the playoffs. I think the sky's the limit for them, but they're coming up against a team that's right at the top of the league and should win it all this year with Phoenix. It would actually be surprising to me if they do not win it all. The other part of the series that's kind of cool is Monty Williams was a mentor for Willie Green, the coach of the Pelicans. Willie Green accepted the Pelicans job last year in the final while they were playing against Milwaukee, and he went over. They're best of buddies. They hang out all the time outside the court, but inside the lines right now, they're enemies. And Monty's got a full gun full of bullets, and Willie just doesn't quite have everything he needs. And I think, this is a 4-game sweep in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a 4-game sweep in my opinion too, as well, because the disparity between the two teams is just it's too wide for the Pelicans to overcome.
Yeah. Okay. I mentioned Milwaukee a bunch of times there. I think they're my favorite to come out of the East, and I think it's going to be a rematch final. Let's talk about them against the Bulls. This was another one of those 90s kind of playoff games, super low scoring, very defensive struggle. Even though, there is a lot of offensive talent on both these two teams, this was a really, really tight game. Milwaukee didn't really seem to be in very much trouble with this game, but it was close in the end. What did you think out of this one?
Yeah, it was close in the end because the Bulls made it close in the fourth quarter, and that's what I saw. But the fact that the Bulls are still missing one of their best defenders in Lonzo Ball, I think still hurts them defensively. Yeah. Fantastic to see that Caruso is actually back with the team and is contributing in that respect.
Playing great, yeah,
playing fantastic ball. But on the other side of the ball, it's great to see that Brook Lopez is back with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah,
that's significant.
Yeah,
very, very significant.
Big time. Yeah, you're right. He played phenomenal, and he's a very key piece for them. I was really surprised when Chicago went on a run and tied the game at 64. They were, giving them a bit of the run, and then all of a sudden Milwaukee put together another run, put some separation with them. I thought Middleton struggled for some reason. Don't know what was wrong with him, but he was not his normal self. You usually can count on him for 20 points at least, and to only have 11. He had a 5 assists or 5 rebounds, 6 assists, but you normally can count on him for about 20 points a game.
Yes, normally you can. And you know what? That's not going to extend for the rest of the series. I'm sure he's going to have a bounce back game immediately for the next game. But I was more impressed with actually Vucevic pretty much equaling Giannis in points.
Yeah.
And so like neutralizing him to a certain extent, because Vooch had a good game. Yeah, maybe not so much in the field goal attempts, but 24 points, 9 to 27, but 17 rebounds.
17 boards, yeah.
17 boards. And then with Giannis, like I said, when they neutralize each other, 27 points, 10 to 19 from the field, 16 rebounds.
Yeah.
They both had huge games. So now if Vooch is able to continue to keep neutralizing Giannis, that actually gives the Bulls more of a chance to win some of these games in this series. I believe personally that the Bucks are a better team and they will win this series, but the Bulls could make it tough for them going forward.
There was a ton of fouls called early in this game, and I think it definitely hurt both teams. Giannis had 5 fouls and had to sit late. Usually we're going to see him playing a bit more than he did. They even sat him in that last minute, which surprised me. I thought maybe they were sitting him in case it did happen to go to overtime or something, but he was really angry when he was taken out. And, usually you see him play in the last 3 minutes, but to be taken out in that last minute with the 5 fouls. Zach LaVine also had 5 fouls, and he wasn't normally his great self. But I saw both Middleton and Drew Holiday, just were a little off on this game. I expect we're going to see a ton more from them. Brook Lopez, great inside, but also had a couple of massive 3-pointers down the stretch and in the last minutes that really separated the two teams. And Vucevic did miss on his opportunity for 3-pointer. But yeah, it's I think Chicago played a little bit above their head this whole season. And I think, when they faced tough, stiff competition, they did not play well. And I think Milwaukee will probably take this. I think it's going to be 5 games. It could even possibly be a sweeper.
It could be possible. It could be possibly. And it could possibly be closer. Okay. Because if you look at Levine and DeRozan, they had horrible shooting nights at the office. 6 of 19 for Levine with 18 points, and 6 of 25 for DeRozan with 18 points. If they can be more efficient and score more, they give the Bulls obviously a better chance of winning these games. Yeah. But that's the point. They actually have to be more efficient for the Bulls to have a chance at winning this series.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Game 2 doesn't go until Wednesday. 6:30 tip-off Wednesday game. As of now, it is the only game. No. We've got a few games on Wednesday. Nets, Celtics, Sixers, Raptors, Bulls, Bucks play on Wednesday. So the late game, Bulls and Bucks play on Wednesday. Only series we haven't covered now is Miami, Atlanta. Let's talk about the Heat. They put a big beating on Atlanta in this game. This, should be a mismatch, 1 versus 8. And, Miami has been the best team in the East pretty much all year. Atlanta just squeaked in there with a couple of, with a big win in the play-in game. And Clint Capella getting hurt, supposedly out at least a week. Huge blow for Atlanta's chances to do kind of what they did last year in the miraculous playoff run they went on. I think that was just a just too big of a blow that they're not going to be able to recover from against a Miami team that's so balanced and stocked in every way.
Yeah, and they are significantly balanced and stocked in every way. Super unfortunate what happened to Clint Capella, because as I watched the replay, that was the slowest moving, into an injury that I've ever seen, because the guy was slowly falling backwards. And Clint, I think, thought, I have enough distance that I'm not going to get hurt, but he still fell into his legs, which caused a knee injury, which was extremely unfortunate. Yeah. But with that being said, I don't think the Hawks have a chance of winning this series anyways. I think the Heat are way too good. Yeah. And with the fact that everybody for the Heat really seemed to step up, especially Duncan Robinson. Yeah. Had his best playoff game he's ever had was pretty much perfect, almost. 9 of 10 from the field, 27 points, 8 of 9 from 3-pointers.
Oh, awesome.
Could not miss.
Yeah, awesome.
Could not miss.
Yeah, he played great. He's had a down year this year, but yeah, he was hot from outside, and yeah, once they gave him the ball and gave him the shot, he was sinking them. And I was really shocked at the numbers for Trae. Trae Young does not get held to 8 points. That this had to be a low moment for him. And yeah, I guess Miami figured out the recipe to shut him down
for this game.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can shut him down for the rest of the series, but for this game, they definitely had the recipe. He had a horrible shooting night at the office, 1 of 12, 8 points. And then the Hawks, period, had a horrible shooting night from 3, only hitting 28% of their threes, as opposed to Miami Heat that hit 47%.
Wow.
In large part due to Duncan Robinson.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. Game 2 there goes tomorrow at 4:30. That's the first game. Tuesday, 4:30, back in Miami. And yeah, anything more you want to mention about that series, or anything that we haven't covered yet?
You know what? No, I don't think so. I'm just going to be keeping an eye on how Butler does for the rest of that series. He was 9 of 15 and 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Reason why I say that is because Butler is the leader of that team. And as far as I'm concerned, the way he goes is the way that team goes. And as long as he's playing strong and effective, then that team is going to be ridiculously hard to beat.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned a few times, we've got 3 games today. Raptors and Sixers kick it off at 4:30 Pacific. Jazz, Mavs at 5:30, and then the Nuggets and Warriors at 7 o'clock Pacific tip-off. All game 2s. 1 game in the book in all 8 series, and stories are emerging. Things are happening. I hate that guys get hurt this early. It's got to just feel so tough to get hurt in game 1 or be hurt in the last game of the season like Luka was and can't play. Oh man, you just feel for these guys. They spend all 82 games getting ready for the playoffs, and to be out this early or not even being able to play at all. Oh man, what a drag that has to be.
Yeah, it sucks because you're just so close to the goal, and now you can't reach said goal because you're injured. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing to the fans. It's disappointing to you if you're a said player, but it is the name of the game. And there's a certain amount of luck that goes into every playoff series, every playoff like team that goes into the playoffs. There's a certain amount of luck that has to be had.
Sure is. Yeah. We see it every year, and it's shocking that that a lot can just wage on one guy. That's the game of basketball. One guy gets injured, and with Mavericks had a real good shot at winning the series without Luka. I don't see them winning it. Isn't it amazing how one guy can make such a massive difference in the NBA playoffs? Yeah,
it is amazing. But at the same time, when you see said player play like Luka Doncic, you go, well, you kind of get it because he's kind of amazing.
He's amazing.
Incredible player to watch play this game. And so if you lack that guy, going to be really hard for you to overcome.
Yeah. I remember you saying that he was your favorite player in the NBA maybe a year or 2 ago, especially when they were coming here to Vancouver to play that exhibition game against the Clippers. I remember you saying, oh my God, we're getting to see my favorite player play live. This is so great.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite young players to watch play the game because he just, to a certain extent, plays it the right way.
Yeah,
he does. Like he just plays it the right way. And I love the fact that you can never speed him up. He always plays the game at his speed, and that's just the way it is. You cannot speed him up, even if you're on the defense. The man's just going to play it at his speed, and there's literally nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. I thought Boston, made KD play at their speed, and it was a shocking match. It was shocking win for Boston, and to shut KD down like that. Never seen it. Don't remember ever seeing anybody be able to do what they did. And but that was the game of the weekend. Really fun to watch. Probably the series out of this first round matchups that I'm most excited for. Looking forward to all these games. I hope it goes 7 and we get to see just such a titanic battle between these two powerhouses.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more from this series and more from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as they go up against Irving and Durant, and just seeing who the best team is that's going to win, which I still believe is going to be the Celtics, because I believe they're the better team.
Yeah. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of the basketball this week, Jason. You're lucky you're off. It's got a silver lining to be not working and getting to see all these games. I'll have to be watching them on PVR like I did a few of them this weekend. But let's turn to the UFC. They had a card back in Vegas, UFC Vegas 51. The main event had a battle between number 5 and number 6 in the welterweight division. Vicente Luque, number 5, against Bball. Remember the name Muhammad, number 6. And Bball came up with the best performance of his career. Absolutely rock solid, great game plan. Took Luque down a lot, even beat him on the feet, I felt, and was able to get a dominating 4 rounds to 1 victory. Didn't do it in exciting fashion, but got the win he needed to get to start getting that really top upper echelon of this division.
And also, too, I believe he avenged the loss that he previously had to Luque.
Yes.
And knew what he had. Like, the thing that I'm super impressed with Muhammad's game plan is that him in his corner had a perfect fight plan for Luque, which is he's going to pressure you, so allow him to do that. The thing that we need to concentrate on is to make sure that you have a gas tank that will last for 5 rounds for the game plan that they had set up, which is constant side to side movement. Yeah. And then with that side to side movement, pick your spot when you shoot.
Yeah.
There was many times where Luque he either caught him coming in or that he was slightly off balance, and it was always a perfect shot. His timing was incredible to get him to the ground in those grappling exchanges, and that was what I was most impressed by Muhammad by, and the fact that he was able to incorporate that style for 5 rounds, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it blew me away. Perfect game plan, absolutely, to a T. He was talking in the fight week about it doesn't really matter that he beat me before. I'm not utilizing this as a revenge fight. And then after, in the post-fight press conference, he said, "No, I was lying. He beat me. He knocked me out. I didn't even make it out of the first round. I'm telling you, I really wanted to avenge this so bad. I was 100% lying when I said it didn't matter. It mattered a lot to me. It's been 6 years that's been hanging over me, and I finally got him. And that's motivation. 6 years going, it really showed in his performance. And I don't think he could have fought a better fight.
No, and to a certain respect, I still think Luque should not be dropping too far in the rankings whatsoever.
No. Because
Muhammad won, but Luque did not make that easy on him. Yeah. He still was able to battle to his feet every time he got taken down, but he was able to be controlled for a certain amount of time pretty much in every round. And that's what won Bball Muhammad the fight. And Bball Muhammad was able to pot shot him on the outside as he was doing his back and forth, his side to side movement, skirting the outside of the octagon. But, Luque still had some great shots, still wobbled him, I believe, in the second with a short left hook. Yeah. And so Luque was incredibly dangerous throughout the entire fight and had a chance to win the entire fight. But as we already mentioned before, Muhammad's game plan was absolutely perfect, and he did it to perfection in the octagon.
Yeah. Do you think Bball is underrated? Do you think a lot of people don't talk about him much as being a contender for the title? Is he Is he forgotten sometimes when people talk about the upper tier of that division?
I think so. I think, you know what, to a certain extent, I think both of them are. Both of these fighters are kind of forgotten in that particular division, but they're both incredibly dangerous fighters and easily could threaten the top 5 or top 4 in that division at any point in time.
Yeah, it's amazing. Both of them have won 10 fights since that fight that they had. Actually, no, this was Muhammad's 11th win since that. He's only had one loss. It was a decision loss to Jeff Neal since that 2016 loss to Luque. He faced Leon Edwards and he had a no contest because he got an eye poke and he couldn't continue. But he's been on quite the rise. He's been beating so many people. He's really good on the feet. A lot of people were talking about him being just only a one-sided fighter because of what he did with Wonder Boy and took Wonder Boy down so much. But he said, hey, why would I'm not a kickboxer. Why would I fight Wonder Boy kickboxing? Like, I knew my advantage was on the ground and I took him to the ground. So, but he's beat Damian Maia. He's beat a lot of really good fighters on this rise. And yeah, I think you start having to, talk about him in that title picture very soon. Okay. So there's Usman. Okay. And he's supposed to be fighting Leon Edwards from all accounts. So that's going to happen. We've got Khamzat Chimaev now, and he's supposed to be fighting against
Covington.
Colby Covington. Yeah, I don't know why the name escaped me for a second. If those 4 do fight each other, then I guess he has to fight one of the victors coming out of those 2 matchups.
Could be. How about this? I'll say it like this: if Chimaev beats Covington, he fights Chimaev next. If Usman beats Edwards, but if Covington beats Chimaev, I think maybe then you grab Bilal Muhammad to fight Covington,
okay,
and then whoever wins that fight then would fight Usman.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. That's a good call. And that's a really dynamic top 6 right now. I think Luque and Muhammad just switched positions and 1 through 6, really tough guys. And I'm excited for the next 3 or 4 fights coming out of this division. It's becoming really a fun division to watch.
Yeah, it's an amazing division to watch because you look at your top 6 and you're just like, that's a murderer's row. But at the same time, the champion is just that much better than everybody else at this point in time. Is the powers that he employs, he's at the height of his powers right now. And whoever's going to challenge the champ has their hands full.
Yeah,
very much so.
The only other guy I can see stepping into the mix in case those 2 fights happen and maybe they can't happen right away is Gilbert Burns. I could see Bilal Muhammad facing Gilbert Burns. A lot of times the UFC wants to pit guys that have both won, but Gilbert still being in that number 4 slot. I could see them putting Bilal against him, and then that will settle 4-5. And then, the upper 2 tiers will sort each other too in 2 fights.
Yeah. I can see that too. I can definitely see that possibility happening because everybody in the top 6 are super close in what they bring and skill set and everything else.
Yeah. And then the rest of that top 10 has Wonder Boy in 7, Masvidal in 8, Sean Brady in 9, and Neil Magny in 10. But I love that top 6 and super excited for more welterweight battles. We'll see what comes together. Okay. There was some controversy in this card, and there's been a bunch of controversy lately from illegal strikes that happen in these matches. I think the UFC has to figure out a game plan moving forward, has to make it a unified rule that once this happens, this is what we do. We've seen too much of a gray area, 3 or 4 different scenarios when a legal strike happens, And I don't know. I think everybody's confused and doesn't really understand what's going to happen now. But in this co-main event, we had a guy who was dominating, and then he throws an illegal knee. The Dagestani fighter cannot continue, and they go to the judges' scorecards. It wasn't done with Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling, but you know, it's done this way. There was another incident, a couple more incidents on this card, even alone. You know, nobody really knows what to do, but what should we be doing going forward when a guy just throws an illegal strike? It goes to the cards, and now he doesn't have to fight the rest of the fight and run the risk of losing. Maybe the Dagestani fighter gets him down and puts him in a submission in that last minute and wins the fight, but he doesn't have a chance going forward because the guy threw an illegal strike. Why should that be penalized against him? Like, that seems crazy to me. And yeah. I don't know what we do, but I don't like the way it is right now.
It's a difficult thing to figure out, because then what you're asking yourself is, do we have a blanket way of doing this? Like, so if this situation arises, we always referee it this way, but at the same time, it's the referee's decision. It's subjective. So they're not always going to be the same, or the same ref is not always going to make the same call in the same situation, which is what Dan Murugilada literally did on this card. Two similar situations, but he made different calls, I believe, in both. Yeah. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know, because at the end of the day, it's always the referee's call and how they want to officiate said match. Now, with this particular one, you know, Omar was doing the playing of the hand on the mat, hand was on the mat, so that means you cannot throw that knee strike, and that was one heck of a knee strike. He did not hold back on that knee strike.
Oh, it incapacitated him. You know, he couldn't continue, and I really looked like he was really hurt by that knee.
Oh yeah, no, he was super hurt by that knee. But it was unfortunate because up until that point, Baralhejo, oh man. Anyways, that dude dominated the fight. His ground game was a thing of beauty to watch. Was able to take his back, even in the second round where it looked like he was too high, was about to fall off his back. Subway managed to stay stuck to him like glue, and still managed to wrestle him down to the ground and stay on his back for the second round. I was very impressed, and I was also very impressed with Baralhejo and his timing when he threw the flying knee. Threw it twice, connected twice.
Awesome, yeah.
Really hard thing to do.
He had great movement. He was really, really great. Exploited any mistakes that Omar Gadjev made, and it was an impressive performance. This is a Dagestani fighter that came in undefeated, on a really good rise, and fighting really tough opponents coming in. And I think, you know, to be able to do so well on the ground with a Dagestani fighter is very tough and very rare, and it was a hell of a performance. But you know, he should have been penalized a lot more than just one point taken off of his scorecard, when it wouldn't have mattered because he was already winning. You know, he won 2 rounds and was winning the 3rd round. But you know, I just don't think that a fighter should be penalized for receiving an illegal strike. And that's what happens in this fight, because I think that, you know, Gadjev still had a shot to win this fight. He still could have easily, you know, done something on the ground, got a submission win. And to be robbed of that by an illegal strike, it's not right. It's not right. And I don't want to see that ever happen again.
Yeah, because he couldn't continue because of said illegal strike, but that, since it's deemed as an accidental strike, but at the same time, you could actually argue, is any strike accidental with your intent to throw it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Your intent was to throw the strike.
You're intending to throw a strike to, you know, hurt the guy. I don't see anything not being intentional. You're throwing a strike to hit a guy. That's intentional, right?
Yeah, it has intent written all over it, right? So there is that argument to be made, and it is unfortunate with the fact that it goes now to scorecards, and it's just like, well, I got hit with an illegal strike, I couldn't continue, but then I lost the fight on points. So I don't know what the answer is to that. I really don't. I don't know what the answer is to that going forward. It's a tough situation.
Very tough situation. Yeah, tough situation. Okay, the welterweight bout that happened before that, Andre Fiallo got performance of the night, 50K bonus for his big knockout late in the first round against Miguel Baeza. Really lethal strike that ended up putting Baeza down and out. Very impressive performance by Fiallo, who was coming in off his second fight, took a short notice fight in his first fight, took a loss, but came in and looked really awesome in this one.
It looked fantastic. Actually, you know what? Both fighters looked fantastic. It looked like I was looking at two fighters that were looking in the mirror at each other, fighting each other, because they both fought kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Had great diversity of strikes, great leg kicks, straight punches, not too many hooks, super amount of power from both men. And just that Fiallo managed to get the better of Baeza, because I think Baeza was a little bit, he was negligent on his defense and didn't get his head out of there once they got into the clinch. And I believe Fiallo must have fed him 4 uppercuts, rocked him, and then sent him crashing to the mat with a follow-up left, and then just a ground and pound finish. I was super impressed by that. Baeza was not happy because he felt that the fight should have kept going, but I thought that it was a good referee stoppage. I thought he was done.
Yeah. Once you can get that hand on the back of the head and you can just keep feeding him uppercuts, usually guys drop, and that was what he did. He was able to get that hand there, and you can just pull the guy's head into your shots, keep doing it. Usually guys' legs are going to buckle. Referees these days, when a guy goes down from shots like that, typically they're jumping in. Just don't go down if you don't want the fight to be stopped, because 90% of refs are stopping it after getting knocked down that severely.
Oh yeah, and then also too, with the follow-up strike, once he did get to the ground, I think, if I remember correctly, I think I saw his eyes kind of start to roll up into the back of his head. And also too, that's a good indication by the ref is, oh, it looks like he's done. It looks like he's done. I'm going to stop the fight.
Yeah. Okay. Very bizarre, but this women's bantamweight fight got fight of the night. Both girls got 50K. Really surprising that this was the fight of the night. Were you quite surprised when you heard that?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Okay, so both ladies did great in this fight. I don't know if this should have got fight of the night, but I know that Yanan did what she wanted to do, which was an incredible amount of movement and making it difficult for Bueno Silva to get off her strikes. But it was very clear to me too, who was by far and away the more powerful striker. Whenever Bueno Silva hit Yanan moved.
Yeah,
she moved. She physically was moved across the octagon. So it was very obvious to me who had the power in the striking department. I just felt that, I know that Silva won. I thought she could have thrown more though.
Yeah,
could have been more involved. Yeah. And honestly, to a certain respect, I thought Yanan, it just could have been a split decision where Yanan actually gave herself a chance to win, because I thought she was by far and away the busier fighter in this fight.
Oh, very much so. Oh, very much so. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, very funny, but I don't know who made the decision, but they called that the fight of the night. I thought there was better fights out there, but they at least they get to pad their bank accounts a little bit and move forward. Okay, I really enjoyed this Pat Sabatini TJ Laramie fight. It was unfortunate. Laramie hasn't fought in a couple years and was coming in with a bit of rust, fighting a really tough guy in Sabatini. I don't see a ton of Canadians right now emerging at the top of many divisions, and so I'm hoping that guys can get some more fights and get some more experience, get some more wins. Laramie was really game in this one, but Sabatini used his wrestling, very impressive, and was able to get the decision win here.
Yeah, he used his wrestling to his advantage. Laramie was game, but eventually you began to see Laramie wilt, and as Sabatini began to wear on him more, and then in the third, I thought he literally broke him. And the fact that Sabatini, what a fantastic gas tank. He didn't even look tired in his post-fight interview. He didn't look like anything. I was very impressed. Impressive win by Pat Sabatini for sure. Impressive win.
Yeah. In the featherweight division, he's tied for the third longest active win streak at 4. Both Josh Emmett and Movsar Evlev all have 4. Bryce Mitchell has 6. And at the top of the division, Volkanovski and Arnold Allen both have win streaks of 9. So, but Pat Sabatini, 4 wins in a row in a great division. Yeah, I see bigger and better things coming for him. Okay, let's talk about this amazing fight that kicked off the card, the pay-per-view main card. Arj Losa, I think his name is, fought Momzar Laziev. It was only 4 days notice that Losa had to come on to fight this killer. I thought he had a really good battle. There was a stand-up war that just kept going on, and they were exchanging great shots. I thought for Losa, 4 days notice and coming in and fighting this guy did well. But I thought Laziev definitely deserved this decision.
Yeah, I thought he had the greater diversity of strikes. He had great feints to try to draw Losa in, but I was still impressed with Losa's his offense. For 4 days notice, he did actually exceptionally well against a very, very gifted fighter in Laziev. But at the end of the day, especially in that third round where Laziev finally let some of his combos go as opposed to the one strikes. You could tell that there was definitely a difference in quality between the two fighters once he decided to actually throw combos.
Yeah, I wonder why it took him so long. Why did it take him so long? Was he worried? Was he being cautious? Is that why? But yeah, he didn't throw a combination until near the end of the fight.
Yeah, I think it was because he was cautious, and I think to a certain respect, I think he respected Losa's power. That's why he didn't put himself into the fire, so to speak. So,
okay. Speaking of power, the feature fight on the prelims had 2 powerful heavyweights. When I look at William Knight, if I saw him in a dark alley, I'd be running the opposite way. That guy has one crazy, scary looking body. Such a short guy, so friggin' built and stocky. If he connects, look out. It was a crazy great fight between him and the brown bear Devin Clark. But it was so funny because they were up against the cage near the end of the fight, and I think it was Dominic Cruz that said, I think this is about the time where William Knight is just about to unleash his fury on Clark and take him out of here. And all of a sudden, Clark just reversed it, was able to get him up against the cage and land some shots. First an elbow, then a left, then a right, and took Knight out with some fury behind the punches. It was an amazing knockout. It was crazy.
No, yeah. And I was impressed. I was impressed because both men are super dangerous. And with Clark, with the way that he's able to drive through his man, because those tree trunk like legs, cool. I think his legs are literally bigger than William Knight's, which I think William Knight's how's that possible? Your legs are bigger than mine? That's amazing. Yeah. And so he was very good at getting the takedown with the masking it with a punch or a strike first that he always landed, and then getting the takedown. Yeah. And then eventually now Knight is concerned about the takedown. And then I think Devin Clark used that to his advantage when he did his strikes up top when they were up against the cage and took him out with powerful left hand
So
rocked him, and then he was able to take him out. I was impressed, and like I said before, last weekend somebody was getting knocked out in this fight. I said that, and it definitely happened. And I knew it would happen.
You were right. Yeah, he was. Wow. It was impressive fight, man. These two specimens are awesome to watch. And yeah, you just knew when they stepped in this cage, somebody was not going to be standing at the end of it. And you were right for sure. It was awesome. I love those two guys, and I can't wait to see them again. Okay, we got to kind of blast through because we're running out of time, but I did want to mention the Drakkar Close Brandon Jenkins fight. I loved hearing that Brandon Jenkins got into mixed martial arts because his father fought Tank Abbott back in the day, and he had a VHS copy of his dad fighting Tank. It's not on Tank's official record of mixed martial arts battles, but somehow they fought somehow, and it became on a VCR tape. But kind of cool that Brandon Jenkins became a fighter from that. But Drakkar Close showed that he is tough and mean, and I cannot believe the beating that he put on Brandon Jenkins. How many shots he gave him, uppercuts. We talked about that, holding, clinching, and feeding the guy. The guy took so many shots. Like, I think they counted 31 in a row he took there while he was in trouble. Jenkins was game and kept going, but Drakkar Close finally got that knockout win, and it was justified stoppage because, yeah, he was wobbly when he got up, and it was time to, declare Drakkar the winner.
Yeah, you take 31 unanswered shots in the first round, and just more of the same in the second. Yeah, man. I give Jenkins all the credit in the world. Super tough, maybe tough, too tough for his own good. At the end of the day, Drakkar Close, fantastic win, dominant performance. And I look forward to seeing more from this young man as he goes through his MMA career. Yeah,
me too. Yeah. He got $50K for that. One of the performance of the night, huge knockout, and loved it. An awesome display. Okay. Jesse, the body snatcher Ronson, was unable to do his normal body snatching and got submitted by Rafa Garcia. Tell me about that one.
Well, Ronson looked good in the beginning. They both looked good. They were both trying to figure each other out in the first round. And then Garcia got two takedowns on Ronson, but Ronson was able to pop right back up. But eventually, Garcia was able to get him down and get his back. And then as soon as he got that back, it was just a matter of time. Garcia took his time to sink in that choke, and then once he did, it was all over. And it was quick. It was fast. The way he sunk that in, it was Ronson didn't have a chance to fight the hand to get it off his neck. It was over.
Yeah, it's too bad. I like Jesse Ronson. I've seen him fight a ton. Another Canadian that's fought south of the border, or north of the border here. Fought on that Score fighting series quite a bit. Aggression FC. Has been a guy that's an up and comer for a lot of years. He's 36 now, out of London, and he's a guy that I always cheer for and hope he does well. But he was submitted in this one late second round. Had to tap to the rear naked choke. So hopefully he gets an opportunity soon and can get rid of that loss off his record with a good performance. Okay, last fight I want to mention. You could mention some other ones, but Martin Budai and Chris Barnett. Love Chris Barnett. What an entertainer. Dancing a lot as he comes in. His flip was probably the funniest flip you've ever seen from a really big guy. But Budai got the decision win out of this one.
Yeah, I'm always impressed with Barnett's athleticism. For how big he is ridiculously athletic. But at the same time, I think he kind of leans on that too much and goes away from the technique. And Budai, perfect technique, especially when he's going in, throws the way he throws his strikes, his hands are always up. And the fact that he's very crafty at controlling his opponent up against the cage and throwing strikes as they're up against the cage. He was very good at that in this fight. Great win by Budai. He looks like he's going to definitely be a player in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, okay, another UFC card behind us. Thanks for all your great takes as always, man. Awesome observations. And you know the game better than anybody. So always good to hear you give your comments and expert analysis on it. We've got a smaller card again next Saturday coming up. We've got the main event of Amanda Lemos against Jessica Andrade. I sent you the fight poster. Andrade looks a little more, was she more feminine or more masculine in that poster I sent you?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit more masculine. Yeah, a little bit.
That was crazy. Somebody messed up big time and put Bilal Muhammad as the picture of Jessica Andrade. I know Andrade is, definitely has masculine qualities to her and looks like a little tank, but I don't think she looks like Bilal Muhammad. I don't know how a guy making a poster sends that out. How does he make that mistake? How does anybody make that kind of a mistake?
Well, especially when the guy somebody else goes over his shoulder and goes, "Oh, that's kind of cool. You put Bilal Muhammad's face for Andrade. That's cool. It's a different way of doing it. Okay, cool. Let's go with it."
Yeah, that was just bizarre. I got that sent to me by Stefan. I sent it to you. I sent it to Scott. I sent it to bunch of my MMA buddies, and we had quite the laugh there. I'll have to try to, I think I'll post it up on the website for people to laugh at too. That was insane. But okay, speaking of this fight though, who do you got? Who do you think emerges victor out of this one?
I think it's gonna be a tough fight. I'm gonna take Andrade. I'm gonna take Andrade because of the fact that she's been there before. She's been in big wars before like this, and if there's one thing about Andrade that you can take to the bank with you at all times, it's her power. Yep. She's going to be stronger than her opponent, usually in every fight, and this fight is no different. So I'm looking at Andrade to beat Lemos in this particular battle.
I think you're bang on there, and it's good. Good analysis. Okay, just let's blast through it. Co-main, Clay Guida, Claudio Perez. Clay is always fun to watch. Brings the Energizer Bunny. I want to mention Tanner Bolzer though, friend of the show. Been on a few podcasts with him on the Complete Sports Media. He fights an undefeated fighter in Alexander Romanov. Another guy coming in undefeated. Let's hope Tanner can put on an amazing performance as usual.
If he's able to beat this undefeated fighter in Romanov, that would be a huge feather in his cap for his MMA career going forward. And that would be bigger fights going forward too for him if he's able to beat Romanov in this upcoming match.
Yeah. We also have another Canadian on the card, Charles Air Jourdain. Fights Lando Venata, one of Scott Holburn's favorite fighters. That kicks off the main card. Love Charles Jourdain, great fighter, and I think he's one of those guys who we can see contend top 10 eventually in his career.
Yeah, I love this matchup because both guys throw great diversity of strikes, can be flashy, but yet still effective. And I really like the way that Venata fights. I'm just like Scott. I love the way that guy fights, and I really like the way that Charles Jourdain fights. I think this is a win-win for them and for us, the fans. More for us, the fans, because this is going to be a great fight to watch. Yeah. Very much looking forward to it.
And on the prelims, we've got another Canadian, Marc-Andre the Power Bar Barrio, fights Jordan Wright, young up-and-comer that's looking really good in his MMA career so far. Love the Power Bar. Seen him fight live tons of times here north of the border. And I'm glad to see 3 Canadians on this card. Should be fun.
Yeah, should be fun. I'm looking forward to the card, and I definitely I'm looking forward to in the prelims to see Dwight Grant fight again. I think he has potential, so I'm looking forward to seeing him in the octagon once again.
Great. Just want to mention Errol Spence Jr. Beat Ugas in the 10th round stoppage this weekend, Saturday. Puts together a huge battle between him and Terrence Crawford. Spence has 3-4 belts now. Crawford has the other one. I'm excited. I can't wait. I hope they can match them up very soon.
This fight has been a long time coming. It is between two undefeated fighters. Their paths were eventually going to come across each other at some point, and now is the time. They're both at the peak of the height of their powers. I am very much looking forward to seeing this fight.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be as high level as it gets, and this is for all the marbles. This is for pound for pound the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you and I should be getting together for that one. We should make sure we get together. I can't wait. I think it's been a long time coming, and two of the best to ever do it. It should be one of those fights that we talk about for years and years.
Yes, yes. And on top of that, no fighter is ducking each other.
No,
they're going to meet each other in their primes. That's the way it always should be.
Yeah.
I love it.
Boxing isn't always like that either. So
yes,
nice to see when it is. Yeah. Okay, man. This was actually a little bit longer of a podcast than I expected, but great analysis and insight as always, man. And I'm so appreciative, even though you've got a broken chicken wing there, you're still coming in and giving your great takes and awesome analysis. We'll miss you tonight. Really wish you could be there for our wrap party, but yeah, we'll see you very soon, I hope. And yeah, keep in touch through the week. Enjoy the basketball. Enjoy the UFC next weekend. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Yes. Say hello to everybody at the party for me, and tell them I'm healing up by watching basketball. That's what I'm doing. Okay. I'm healing by watching basketball.
And eating lots of leftovers.
Eating a ton of leftovers. Ton.
Nice. Okay, buddy. A pleasure as always. Take care, man. Cheers. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Cheers.
Okay, another edition of Complete Sports Media is done for Monday. Wow. Yeah, that turned into a couple of hours, did it? Wow, 2 hours. I guess I went on a bit of a rant at the beginning and talked a lot, and we didn't get into the basketball and the mixed martial arts coverage till a little bit after. But anyway, I got to run. I'm going for Easter dinner. So I just wanted to thank our partners and sponsors. Anchor FM, great, the best at what they do. Fantastic at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us, and easiest place to make a podcast. Verbero, hockey equipment and apparel company, best industry leader in technology, performance, and value. V350 stick is what you need. Pampas of Possibilities, love them, love them, love them. Get them to bring their love to your home and fix it up so everybody's impressed. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. Get them on our website, discounted prices as always. So love you guys lots. Thanks for sticking in. Man, you're a trooper. We love you, love you, love you, love you. Yeah, visit our websites. Tell everybody, tell your friends, tell your family. We'll keep spreading the love. Have a great week ahead. Happy Easter. Bye for now.